Before internet forums, email, and web blogs, sending a letter was the only way to communicate with a broad audience. But in the early 19th century, middle-class and English families dreaded the postman's knock, and working-class families too. Postage was high, prepayment was a social slur. Typically, the receiver paid for the letter, not the sender, as we have today. The penny post transformed the post, as we call mail in the UK, into an affordable service for all. Posting it, the Victorian Revolution in letter writing, tells the story of this revolutionary change. Letters weighing up to 1/2 ounce could travel anywhere in the UK for only a penny. This revolutionary change abolished franking, which was a free carriage of mail, even for the Queen. Also, the sender, not the receiver, paid for the letter, as we have today. Rowland Hill, who spearheaded the penny post, is credited for 2 inventions: the prepaid envelope and letter sheet, as well as an adhesive postage stamp called the penny black. Suddenly, a letter weighing up to 1/2 ounce could travel anywhere in the UK for only a penny. Quickly, other countries followed the scheme of prepayment and postage stamps, including the United States, which issued its own stamps in 1847. The penny post facilitated family ties, promoted business, and spread information to an ever-widening postal network, but it also created problems such as spam, blackmail, phishing, and junk mail that remain problems today. Object Lessons from Victorian Postal Culture takes place at the Smithsonian National Postal Museum on an historically significant date. January 10, 2010 marks the 170th anniversary of the coming of the penny post. On January 10, 1840, Victorians of all social classes rushed to their local post offices to prepay their letters and get them off for only a penny. However, for some Victorians, such as Samuel Lynes, Rowland Hill's drawing master, the penny post became official on the wee hours of January 10th. Lynes, who was Rowland Hill's boyhood drawing master, was eager to be the first person to send Rowland Hill a letter of congratulation. Lynes stood outside on the evening of January 9th in Birmingham at a local post office, and he waited for the clock to chime 12 times. At the very stroke of 12, Lynes rapped on the postal window, or so the story goes, woke up an astonished sleepy postal clerk, declaring, "It's a penny today, I believe," as he handed him a penny. Following postal reform, the General Post Office in St. Martin's-le-Grand became a site of interest, activity, promiscuity, and the site of a painting by George Edgar Hicks. Hicks made his reputation creating paintings of diverse scenes and everyday life, such as the Bank of England, Billingsgate Fish Market, which is still very famous today, and the post office. The General Post Office Woman into 6, created in 1860, is an amazing painting that brings together people of various occupations in different social classes. Hicks guides us into the massive entryway, and there we find thief and law enforcer, man and woman, human and canine, young and old, and rich and poor. All have come to St. Martin's-le-Grand to prepay their missives of business, of importance, and of love. A writing desk might aptly be called a Victorian laptop. The Victorians relied on their writing desks for storing writing materials, as well as jewelry, passports, and a whole range of clandestine correspondence. With the Industrial Revolution, the Victorians increasingly became a literate consumer culture. The Great Exhibition of 1851, the first ever World's Fair, also showcased these types of writing materials and increased middle-class demand for them. Writing desks tell us about privacy, security, and portability at a time when heating was inefficient, houses were not yet electrified, and people made long visits to family and friends, lasting weeks, perhaps months. The type of wood of a writing desk tells us about social class. The size and the degree of ornamentation teach us about gender. For example, a gentleman's desk was larger than a woman's desk, and a woman's desk, not only smaller, had a much richer degree of ornamentation. Many desks contain hidden chambers called secret drawers. If you were to return to Victorian times, what do you think you might keep in the secret drawers of your writing desk? The rise of the penny post generated a postal network that was as revolutionary to the Victorians in sending letters, newspapers, books, and other information as sending emails, text messages, and weblogs are to us today. Indeed, the postal system can be viewed as a forerunner of computer-mediated communication. It led to access, interconnectedness, sociability, and networking, a very contemporary term. For example, just as Hicks shows a naive victim being pickpocketed in The General Post Office 1 Minute to 6, Internet users today face cyber pickpocketing, identity theft, as well as scams, viruses, phishing, all problems that inevitably and arguably stem from the Victorian penny post. Innovation opens opportunities for criminal use in the real and the virtual worlds. A Victorian time traveler to the 21st century might be surprised today to see people talking into handheld devices or staring at writing on flat screens. A Victorian time traveler would be bewildered because he or she relied on the penny post to communicate. However, I would argue that a Victorian time traveler would not be surprised by the ideas of innovation, bewilderment, and anxiety that accompany this innovation, as well as criminal use and the need for law and order. These would seem hauntingly familiar.